Well, the time is just gone 18 minutes past 9 as we continue right here on Salam Media, and our focus is on Pakistan and India, the standoff between the two countries. And we are going across now to be joined by the acting High Commissioner, Pakistan Ambassador to South Africa, His Excellency Ambassador Fahad Amjad. Ambassador Fahad, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan so much for your time and welcome.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be present here and talking at your Salam Media. Thank you so much.
Yes, Jazakallah for your time as well. Now, clearly, there is a lot of interest in terms of what is happening in Pakistan and at this point in time between Pakistan and India as well. And we see this huge standoff as well. We've just seen so much actually come out. And just to understand the Pakistani position with regards to where we are at this point in time, we've already been seeing what has been happening in the last few days. We've heard about obviously the exchange of fire between the two countries as well. Pakistan shooting down Indian aircraft, all of this, and just let's put the standoff into context. And how do you see it as the Pakistani government?
Thank you so much. Actually, if you recall, the underlying issue between Pakistan and India is the long-standing issue of Jammu and Kashmir, which stands unresolved for the last more than 8 decades almost. So the core issue is the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. So this has become a practice of the Indian government that whenever they feel some to take some political mileage, so they blame any act on the Pakistani government. So this time they also did the same. There was a terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir, and without any evidence and without sharing anything, so they blamed everything on the government of Pakistan. So we, in as a responsible member of the international community, we offered our prime minister offered that we can have a third party investigation of the issue. But the Indian government did not respond to any of our requests, and instead, about 2 days ago, they uh, some of their planes they fired missiles within the civilian population in Pakistan, and a lot of about 31 people, mostly civilians, were killed, and as a result, and there was a loss of life. Yesterday, also some of their drones they were fired in the Pakistan territory, and we took them down. About more than 20 to 30 drones were taken down by the Pakistani air defense, and so the situation is still developing. We reserve our right in accordance with the UN Charter to respond to this Indian uncalled aggression, and this right is given to us by the international law and the UN Charter as well.
Yes. Also, Ambassador, are we surprised that this has actually happened? Because we've seen even previous prime ministers, and we know what had happened with Palwama in the past as well. Now the Pahalgam attack as well, and previous prime ministers has actually also warned, as far as India is concerned, finding an excuse to accuse Pakistan and connecting it to terrorism.
Yeah, you are right. This is not a surprise for us because the especially with this current regime of Modi regime, we it's become very predictable that after regular intervals of time, so they blame Pakistan for one another thing, and they put the blame on us. This time also they abrogated the Indus Water Treaty, so and which is a agreement between two nations, and it is guaranteed by the World Bank. So without going to any legal procedures or so it shows that the current Indian regime is very they don't follow the international law. They are not the actions of the Indian government are totally uncalled for, and the international in the international law there is no space for such kind of actions. And what I think or apprehend is that they try to get political mileage out of these acts, these false flag operations, and they use it for their domestic audience and in order to solidify their position within the country. As you might see that in during the last elections, the current regime was not able to get the majority which they wanted to. So with this kind of actions, they want to harbor a war kind of hysteria within their country, and they want to use it according to their own benefit.
Yes, certainly. And I think what you're making is a very, very valid point in terms of how this entire saga is being motivated by personal political survival interest rather than the focus on Pakistan. But also at the same time, when one looks at how the narrative and the Indian government and the Indian media had tried to actually control this narrative, their version of the Pahalgam attacks as well, but very, very quickly it's been debunked and it's been proven to be untrue without any substance, without any concrete evidence. And the world is now more wiser and more open to the fact that these narratives that the Indian government and media tried to control at the end of the day has proved to be a big lie.
Yeah, certainly. You know what they, if you recall that during the visit of the President Clinton, there was a similar attack. So he wrote in one of the books also in the foreword that when there was some investigation afterwards for that attack, so it was a kind of a false flag kind of operation. So this time also they have tried to do the same. So as you know, the Deputy President of United States was in India, and they use this opportunity to portray Pakistan as a a state which is harboring terrorism and stuff like that. But this time the world community has not taken its the propaganda which the Indian regime has made. And we have also, like our prime minister, at the very outset, we condemned this incident, and we also offered our that if a third or neutral body can investigate the issue, we can fully cooperate with that. But the Indian regime didn't listen to us. They abrogated the Indus Waters Treaty, and then they attacked our civilian population. So this shows that they don't want to listen to any saner voice or to any argument. So they have already made up their mind. They want to achieve their own political agenda, and so all this is just a facade for achieving their own interest.
Yes, and also, Ambassador, during the week, I had the opportunity of talking to a correspondent out of Pakistan, and he made a very, very important point in terms of how this has actually united the Pakistani nation on all levels, from grassroots, from the people on the ground, to the politicians, to the oppositions within government as well,
So
and together with the Pakistan military and the army.
yeah, that's totally true. Pakistani people and their security forces are, Pakistani people love their security forces, and in the time of any calamity or any misadventure adventure like this, so Pakistani people have showed it in the past as well, and they will show. They have shown now as well that they stand shoulder to shoulder with their defense forces in the safeguard of their motherland, and we are all united. Yeah, so we are united to protect our motherland. So come what may, we will do it. Thank you.
And also, Ambassador, when one looks at India, and for a very, very long time, we've seen India actually boasting and adopting what we can call a superiority complex over Pakistan, looking down on Pakistan and seeing itself as a superpower in that region. And particularly when it comes to Pakistan, and also to a large extent, we know what is taking place in Kashmir, and also with regard to Bangladesh as well. But again, when one sees the
Sorry.
response of Pakistan, it's been a very, very strong response. It's been a powerful response. It's been a very, very profound response that sends a very, very strong message and a signal to the Indian government that this superiority complex that you have will not go down well with the people of Pakistan and the Pakistani government.
Yeah, unfortunately, India is a big country and in South Asia, but their actions are not in line with what, as a big neighborly country, what they should have done. They are not doing it. So it's a kind of, they have portrayed themselves. You are rightly pointing out that they try to portray themselves as a regional or superpower, and they want to get the United Nations Security Council membership also. So, and for the past many years, they never entered into a dialogue with Pakistan, despite many issues which are pending. So they portray themselves as a, that we don't want to talk, we don't want to do anything, we don't want to have any contentious issues resolved. So this attitude of the current regime is not acceptable within the international law. And as you might understand, there is a atmosphere all over the world with a that the populist leaders are gaining ground, and they are not obeying or following the international law. There is a contempt for the international law, and the Modi regime has also taken a leaf from them, and especially with the actions of the Israeli government against the Palestinians. So the Indian government supported them, and presently also the drones which they are using, it's also a Israeli technology. So it's they are taking the leaf from the Israelis, and this attitude is not only towards Pakistan; it's also towards the other neighbors, like within the South Asia. So the thing is the same. The only issue is that Pakistan stands up to them and doesn't take them as a bully, and replies to them in the same coin. That's why they want to teach us a lesson, but God forbid it will never happen. And Pakistani people and armed forces are fully prepared to respond to the Indian government in the same coin in which they will show any aggression. And we reserve the right till date to respond to them. What we have done in the past 2 3 days, we have only responded to the actions which they have done, and during which some of their fighter jets were also downed by the Pakistani Air Force. But we also reserve the right to give them a reply in a very befitting manner. But we have shown restraint, and so our restraint should not be construed as a weakness.
Yes, certainly. And also, I think you make a very, very important point with regard to Israel and the close cooperation between the two countries. And we know that people like Modi and also Netanyahu, these are racists, they have fascists, we know Hindutva, and also Zionism. These are twins that are intertwined together. And for a very, very long time, they mirror each other in their occupations. The one in the occupation of Palestine, the other one in the occupation of Kashmir, where even in the Negev desert, we've seen Israeli military training Indian military on how to continue with the occupation as far as Kashmir is concerned as well. So this there is a very, very long history in terms of this close relationship that both these two occupying entities have. But let's just come looking at some of the international consequences that possibly could, should this actually blow out into a full scale war. What would some of the international consequences be? Because we know at this point in time, China is fully behind Pakistan at this point in time. India, obviously, you've got the likes of the United States of America.
Yeah, the international consequences in this kind of situation are very grave. Like, both nations are nuclear armed, and if the Indian government pushes us to a level that we don't want to go to that extreme position, but Pakistan has a nuclear deterrence doctrine that, for example, if there is some attack, so we are forced to use our nuclear weapons. So this kind of situation, and this kind of grave provocation by the Indian government is very, it's playing with the fire, especially keeping in view the close proximity of the both nations, and both are neighborly countries. So God forbid if there is any use of nuclear weapons in this situation, that is very catastrophic. So the leaders of the international community, as well as the Indian government, should pay heed to the calls of reason, and should not aggravate this situation further, because it's not in the interest of the people of the subcontinent as well as the people of India and Pakistan. So This is a very alarming and concerning situation.
Well, we certainly will follow developments with interest, Ambassador Fahad Amjad. Jazakallah khairan so much for that and for taking time out of your busy schedule this morning. And we wish you all the best, inshallah. We thank you for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you, Mr. Inayat, for giving me this opportunity and for and so that giving me the platform to educate your listeners on the current situation. And thank you so much. Take care. Jazakallah.
His Excellency Ambassador Fahad Amjad with us, Acting High Commissioner for Pakistan, with us this morning, just providing us with an update on what is actually playing out in the subcontinent. And with that, we're going to go for a break. And when we come back, I see there have been a few comments talking about the IMF and loans. And really, at the end of the day, this is just so far removed from the reality on the ground. And I'm not too sure what the IMF has got to do with this. I'm not too sure. There's a viewer that talks about Osama bin Laden was found in Israel and in India. What has that actually got to do with what is playing out between India and Pakistan? It's about time that people become a lot more wiser to what we are actually discussing. And with that, we're going to go for a quick break, and we'll be joined live in studio by Imam Jalani Abdul Karim.